Welcome to our CoreLogic auction update as we review the results of the last week, and we are going to tell you that the property market is clawing back some ground. Kevin Brogan joins me in just a moment.
Point your clients in the right direction with our range of directional signage. With a variety of options, we have a pointer board for every situation. Made with quality, durable materials, they're built to withstand our varying weather.
Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic with his wonderful analysis of what's happening in the property market as it relates to auctions. Kevin, good morning and welcome to the show.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah,
Thanks,
well, let's firstly bring up the clearance rates because I think, wow, this is the best since April 2017, 74.2%.
Yeah, look, and that's the combined capital clearance rate, the final clearance rate. And look, we've been reporting for a little while in the individual capital cities how they've compared historically, and we've been casting the net back a couple of years, as you said. So this is a significant resurgence.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the individual results. I've got to say they're all good. Sydney 78%, Melbourne 77%, even Brisbane, little old Brisbane, almost 60%.
Yeah, look, I think when we were talking about the preliminary results, I called out Brisbane as sort of most improved. I mean, the market in Brisbane virtually for the whole of this year has been sitting below 50 and quite often in the mid-30s. So that's the most improved, I think, that we've seen.
Yeah, the others are pretty good too. Canberra, even. Let's have a look at the Sydney sub-region results. That might tell us a little bit more. Sure. Of course, that clearance rate out of Sydney is 78.1%. What were the standout areas for you, Kevin? Any changes?
Look, I mean, we've seen North Sydney and Hornsby and the Northern Beaches. They've featured heavily in our previous conversations, and once again, they're leading the way. Little bit unusual in terms of Baulkham Hills and Hawkesbury, obviously much lower volumes there, but to see them at the top of the league table is not a common sight. Eastern suburbs, again, that's where you see quite a lot of the higher value properties, and again they're sitting comfortably in the mid 80s.
Any area that you would pick out apart from those that you've just mentioned as standouts? I mean, North Sydney and Hornsby, for me, is a bit of a standout. A very high clearance rate off a good number of auctions, almost 100.
Oh, look, absolutely. And straight after our conversation here, I'll be heading up there to actually have a look at a couple.
Very good. Okay, we'll take you to Melbourne now. The Melbourne regional results. What do we see there? Is Northeast, is that a little bit unusually low, Kevin?
Oh, look, I think when we've been discussing this in the past, one of the features that we've seen is some of the higher value properties that are leading the charge. So the Northeast covers a really big area, which does include the sort of commuter belt and the growth corridor. So, look, that's not that's not the highest regional result, but I mean it's certainly not a weak result. I mean, almost 7%. But the housing stock there would include a big variety, which would include some of the lower value properties in Melbourne.
Okay, we'll take a look ahead in just a moment at what the auctions are going to look like in the coming week. But before we do that, here's James Bell with his auction tip for the week.
Hi, I'm James Bell from the Auction Group. Whether you are buying or selling in an auction, that feeling of putting the sold sticker on the sign has no equivalent in the Australian culture. Obsessed with property and property ownership. Auction is the most transparent and fair way to buy or sell because negotiations are conducted in a public forum. Bids are called out so that you know at all times where negotiations are up to, and you can compete or refrain based on your own comfort level. Bidding, in this sense, it is not so different to the process of taking offers on paper. It just compresses that process and is just like asking anyone who wants the offer on the property to come at the same price and say what their offer is going to be. Buyers don't get that opportunity when we're negotiating multiple private offers on paper. Buyers can see what others are offering, and that there's so many times that a party who has missed out in private negotiations finds out the ultimate sale price and they confess that they would have been willing to pay more if only they knew. It means the sellers may have missed the best price too. I'm James Bell for propertytv.io.
Thank you, James. Back again with Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic, and we'll bring up the auctions for this week. Not too shabby, an increase on last week, Kevin?
Yeah, look, I mean, on a combined capitals basis for the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've seen about 100 extra auctions a week, and looking forward to this week and weekend, we see the same again, up from about 1,400 to about 1,500. And in fact, I think in all capital cities, we've seen an increase, except in Canberra. Okay,
well, Kevin, I've been holding off with the worm. I'm not going to do it this week, but the worm is looking pretty good. It's starting to climb. Actually, no, I can't resist it. Let's bring it up. The worm is actually looking a lot better than it has for quite some time if we go back.
Oh, absolutely, and I think what we're looking at here is a market which has gone for a period of being fairly soft. We've seen value falls across most capital city markets, although predominantly in Sydney and Melbourne. And what we're seeing is a pattern which is fairly similar to what we saw the last time we experienced these conditions, which is back in 2012, 2013. So we're seeing buyers returning to the market, driving up those clearance rates. As you can see, it's quite a sharp increase since the beginning of the year. And now we're just waiting for that spring listing surge to come on and to test, whether there's a sort of resilience or depth to the demand in the market.
Kevin, like you, I've been sort of wandering around talking to a lot of agents, but particularly also mortgage brokers who are telling me that they are absolutely flat out. The amount of buyer activity coming into the market now, which you just touched on then, is really quite outstanding. So it's likely that we're going to see these results fairly buoyant through spring, I would think.
Look, that is certainly likely. I mean, I've been speaking with lenders who are also seeing that with the difficulty or the sort of higher hurdle to reach in terms of demonstrating serviceability, they're seeing people getting ready. So there are people applying for mortgages, getting approved for mortgages, and they haven't yet entered the market. So, if we see that increase in listings, there appear to be anecdotally buyers who are ready for when that occurs.
Yeah, that is the key, and that's something we're going to watch quite closely, and that is the number of listings hitting the market, because you can have buyer demand, but you've got to have the listings for them to buy. Hey, Kevin, it's always great, my friend, having a talk to you and getting an insight as to what the market's doing. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to catching up with you on Monday when we'll do a full review of all of the auction activity. Thanks, Kevin. Have a good weekend.
Looking forward to Kevin and you.
I'm Kevin Turner. Thanks to CoreLogic for their wonderful insight, and Kevin Brogan, of course, who brings us this every Monday and every Friday. So watch out for Real Estate Talk. It's out tomorrow, and Property News Update a little bit later today. I'm Kevin Turner. I look forward to seeing you with a full wrap on Monday when Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic will join me once again. See you then.